So, you want to build a new mobile app. Means you gotta learn Flutter and Swift, right? For both of the platforms. No. You see, while we used to build one mobile application per platform, we don't do this anymore. This is so uncool and outdated. Imagine you would have to learn 2 languages. You would have to install 2 build tools. This one from Apple, Xcode. You know what Xcode is? It's a chunky piece of software that likes to eat your disk space. You will see, it's just one simulator and another simulator and another simulator, and boom, 300 gigabytes of disk space. Gone. On a small side note, you will have to use a MacBook and you will have to use Xcode to get your app actually into the App Store. I wish there was a way around this. There's not. It's just all MacBooks. You will need to buy an Apple product if you want to get something into the App Store. In 2015 there was a big hype, and this hype was Cross-Platform Frameworks. These tools, for example React Native and Ionic, they came out and said, well, what if you don't need to build one website, one desktop app and one mobile application? What if you have one tool and one framework and you do everything with it? But to be honest, they all have their rough edges. They are not perfect. The stability, kind of meh. And they also like to do big kind of migrations, so you need to check their migration guides twice a year and see, well, how do I get all my modules that I use, I don't know, to interact with the camera, to interact with the file system, to interact with the geolocation. All of this you need to migrate twice a year. Imagine just a happy world where you could use React or maybe Vue or whatever, I don't know, whatever kind of savior you use in the front-end world, whatever is your light at the end of the tunnel, but have a web application running natively and have it in some kind of app store.
Wait a minute!
You thought of PWAs, didn't you? Maybe because of the video title. No, we are not talking just about PWAs, we are talking about something cooler. PWAs, just to check back in, these are progressive web application. It's basically your browser offers you, hey, this developer has a manifest.json in their public files. Do you want to click this install button, have it on as a desktop icon? It's basically just a small browser running, right? But these kind of apps, they don't go into the App Store. And they also have some other quirks. It's kind of hard to get notifications to work in native parts of your application. iPhones don't do this, right? iOS says no, PWAs give it the least amount of functionality we can offer. But there's something better for this, because, you know, big tech guys, they also want to use Vue. They also want to use React to build applications. They don't want to rely on React Native. So there's a nice little tool called PWABuilder. Thanks, Microsoft. And this tool has a nice little trick to bring your PWAs into the App Store. Let's hop into some code and I will show you what it does.
Step 1. Create your web app with a framework of your choice. Step 2. Create logos and other assets for the PWA. Step 3. Create custom sounds for app interaction using Ableton Live. Step 4. Spend more time creating marketing material. Step 5. Buy a domain. Deploy your app. Step 6. Check what your PWA needs with PWABuilder.com. Step 7. Pay $99 for joining the Apple developer cult. Then download your Xcode project from PWABuilder.com and try to compile it. Step 8. Add necessary support and privacy pages. Step 9. Submit your app to Apple for review. This took 4 hours 30 minutes. Don't create custom sounds and you are done in 3 hours.
That looks great, right? That looks amazing. You might find yourself asking, how did Microsoft get my little React application into the App Store? Easy. See, PWABuilder, a tool by Microsoft, takes your application and then it creates a native shell around it. It starts a native application, and inside this native application there's a browser. The browser starts in full screen and it will just show one URL. And this is your URL, the site of your web application. Users won't even notice, because it will just be another full screen application running. And the cool thing is, thanks to service workers and the normal HTML API, you can have things like camera access, offline support, notifications. Everything of this is just available to you. Unfortunately, there are still some APIs that are missing in the web that you would have on native applications. Even if you use some kind of service like PWABuilder, which provides this app shell that I've just talked about, you will not have access to Bluetooth or, I don't know, some other system level API. Let's be honest here, you are building a recipe app, aren't you? You are building a gym tracker, aren't you? And these kind of apps, do they really need Bluetooth? Do they really need the system level file access? I doubt it. If you do, then, well, you might have to fall back to something like React Native. If you don't, PWAs are perfectly fine. If you find yourself running for that side hustle app idea, just think, wouldn't it be easier to just use React or to just use Vue, whatever you prefer? Maybe don't jump into cross-platform tools directly, because they are not the savior after all. And PWAs are here to stay. And they are trying to take React Native's lunch money. Since you are now a player in the mobile app game and you want your share of the big pie that is called mobile app market share, you have to adhere to its rules. There are some things you need to consider. For example, if you are integrating a Google single sign-on into your application, which I bet you do because Firebase offers this and everyone just throws it into their application like it would be, I don't know, some kind of warm selling bread. That's a German reference, I don't know. Yeah, you might as well throw in an Apple single sign-on, because if you just have the Google single sign-on, Apple will tell you in its review, nope, we couldn't log in, there's no Apple single sign-on. How do you use Google single sign-ons? We don't know, so they won't do it. There are some of these caveats. You have to find out what these caveats are. I myself find out with every app release that I do that there's something else. Just Google for it. There are some Reddit threads you can have a look at. I wish you all well for your first app release, and thanks for staying. If you liked this video, you know the deal, right? There's a subscription button below. It makes my heart go yippee if you press it. Thank you. Bye.